Welcome everyone, and thank you so much for joining. As you can see, it's only me and Siobhan here today. Alexandra unfortunately had an unforeseeable incident she had to tend to, but she sends everyone all her love. So I'm actually gonna let you introduce yourself, Siobhan, and your kind of journey into endometriosis and your experience with it.
Yeah, hi everybody. My name is Siobhan. I'm 36 and I live in the UK. Um, I was diagnosed with endometriosis it was suspected in 2022, was confirmed in 23. Um, and my kind of journey towards it, I ended up going in for an emergency appointment. I was in so much pain. And to be honest, I didn't actually think I was going to get seen. I only filled out the 111 form online just to shut my partner up because he kept going on at me. And I was actually seen quite quickly and quite surprised. I had an emergency appointment, then I got a doctor's appointment, and then I went in to have scans, saw the consultant and stuff like that. So my journey has been was really quick actually compared to a lot of women, but my pain stems back to like when my period started. So I started my periods when I was like 10, 11. They've always been really heavy, um, always kind of quite clotty. And I was talking to my mum about it the other day actually, and it was like back then, like the pads for if you had a heavy period, they were like this thick. And it was
Mm,
like having, I don't know, a brick sat in your pants. It was like, oh, it's just like imagine that. And now we've got really comfy pants that we can put on. It's great.
mm,
But anyway, so yeah, so my periods have always been quite heavy and thing. From about the age of 14, um, I was in a lot of pain. I'd have lower back pain, like my hips, my pelvis. I'd get really big, sort of like blood clots and stuff. I went to the doctor on numerous occasions, and I was literally told that it was part of growing up, it was part of being a woman, um, it was normal, blah blah blah. And my doctor was male, not that he wasn't like a bad person or anything, but it was really uncomfortable as a 14-year-old going into a male doctor trying to explain, that. And he was lovely, like don't get me wrong, he wasn't rude or anything like that, but it was really uncomfortable for me. And then to keep being told that it's normal, I was like, that's it, I'm not coming back in. Like
mm,
that's it. And I just have literally, from then till like 2022, I've just got on with it. um I've just kind of I believed it was normal, that everybody else was going through it, and that I just had to get on with my life. I spent a lot of my time, I comfort ate quite a lot, so chocolate was my go-to thing, which in hindsight, what I know now actually makes it worse.
mm,
um, and I always had like paracetamol, ibuprofen. I'd literally, for probably about 10 to 14 days of the month, I was constantly like taking paracetamol and ibuprofen, and I just got on with it. That's what I thought was normal, and I thought that's what everybody else was experiencing. And in my head, it was, well, if everyone else can function, why can't I?
mm,
Um, until now, knowing what I know, I'm like, oh my God, like I was so horrible to myself.
mm.
It was really difficult. Um, and yeah, so it's like, um, I take a more holistic approach to my lifestyle. I completely came off contraceptives. I think it was 2019. I just had enough. I It was really affecting my mental health. Um, and I just didn't want it anymore. I didn't know I had endometriosis then at the time, and I did take like a more holistic approach. Like I watched my diet. I found that omega supplements have been huge in like helping with pain, my hips and my pelvis, and my lower back. And I've done numerous times, I've come off them and stopped taking omega to see what happens. And literally within like a couple of weeks, I'm up in flaring. It's that I don't know how to describe it. It's like someone's poured like concrete into like my hips and my pelvis, and it's like at the same time there's like firework bombs going off. it's yeah, it's really painful. And then when I start taking the omegas, it kind of, not straight away, it takes time. It sort of settles itself back down again, and I don't get that like severe pain. I still have like pains. Um, I wouldn't say that I'm completely pain free or anything like that, but yeah, it definitely has dramatically helped. Um, my holistic approach came from, I had a boxer dog who was my absolute baby, my absolute world, and he was diagnosed with cancer. And the odds that he was given were so poor that I didn't want to go down like the chemo route and stuff like that. So that's how I ended up starting doing my research, and that's what led me into the holistic approach to things. Um, and it's wild, like how much what we do by what we think, the things we put into our body, how much of an impact that it actually has is crazy. But we're not taught any of this. We're not taught how incredible our bodies are. Like, okay, yes, we have a disease and it's painful, but we can absolutely do things that can help improve our life. But we're not told that. It's basically you're given no hope. Um, a lot of women are literally told and made to feel like they're crazy, that it's all in your head, it's not, it's normal, just get on with it. And that's not the case. Um, yeah, I feel like I've gone off on a bit of a
Oh,
tangent
no,
thing there.
no. Yeah, no,
Um,
thank you so much for
so
sharing.
yeah, so that was, yeah, so with Buster, sorry, that's why I ended up going down that route. And he's taught me so much, which brought me into, I've struggled my whole life with like body image, like my weight. Obviously, I used to just comfort eat. Um, so that's what led me into then. I helped women since about 2016, I think I started.
Mm.
Women with their body confidence, with anxiety, um, just how to acknowledge their body, their feelings, their emotions. And I loved what I was doing so much that I actually went and I did gain qualifications to have a proper toolkit, a professional toolkit to be able to actually help and make more of a difference for women. Um, yeah, so that's where I am
And we can
today
link
now.
all of that at the end as well. So we can send an email with all these resources. If anyone here would like to reach out to Siobhan and go through that. Is it a 12-step program? 12 weeks, sorry. The
Yeah,
holistic.
I have different things I can work. I do like one-to-one, either on 12 weeks or 6 months.
Mm.
I've released a 12-week course. So it's like each week there is, it's about an hour and a half to 2 hours long, and it's a different subject each week, where we can do like questions and stuff like that. But I give you the information, but then also the tools and techniques to take away that you can then use forever. You have access to the course like forever as well. It's not just like here it is and then taken away. You've got full access, so you can go back and you can rewatch and stuff like that. And obviously, I'm always going to be here to
Mm.
help and support. It's not just a hey, bye.
It's good. So it's just going into it then, what is endometriosis? And, what are some of the most common symptoms of it? And then where's the distinguishment from normal menstrual pain and endometriosis?
So endometriosis is where um, the lining of the womb, or similar to the lining of the womb, grows in other places in the body.
Mm.
And it's a whole body disease. It's not just found within um, the uterus, like it can be found around the ovaries, the fallopian tubes, but it's also been found on like the lungs, the bowel, the bladder. So it's not just a period disease, it's a whole body disease. It affects in around 1 in 10 women. Personally, I think that number is a lot higher because it's so dismissed, and you can actually be asymptomatic. So you can have endometriosis and not even know that you've got it, which, I'm sure so many people who experience the pain wish that that was them. But
Mm.
yeah, so you can actually still have it, but not experience pain. Um, so yeah, it affects around 190 million women in the world. It's about 1.5 roughly in the UK. Um, and it's really painful, it's really debilitating. And it's not just physically, it's the mental side
Mm.
of it as well. Um, and I think it's because we're not taught how to kind of like acknowledge our bodies, what goes on within our body, like our periods, sex education. I don't know what it's like today, but I know when I had it, it's shocking. And from my nieces and nephews, I don't think it's really improved very much since either. And I think it's really important as women that, or young girls, that we're taught to like be able to track our periods, and then that's how we'll be able to know if there's any irregularities or if there's anything wrong within our bodies. But we're not taught that. So
Mm.
I think it's very difficult when you're saying that you're always in pain, but you can't pinpoint why, or you can't pinpoint how. Or I think that's something that needs to be addressed at a younger level, that we're taught to actually track our bodies and how we're feeling, not just during our periods but throughout the whole entire month. And that gives you the opportunity then to, like I said, to know your own body, to know what pain you have and how to experience it. um I've forgotten what the question was, sorry.
No worries. It's more so how you can distinguish the kind of like what is seen as normal menstrual discomfort and what could
Yeah,
be
well,
some
see,
symptoms of
that's
endometriosis.
the thing, is like period pain is not normal,
Okay.
and we are told that it is, and it's absolutely not. Having period pain doesn't necessarily mean that you've got a disease. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's endometriosis or like any of the other gynecological issues. um, it can literally mean that you are nutrient deficient, that you need to boost your vitamin D and your B12s, you need like more iron. It could be something as simple as making dietary changes like that, or adding supplements, and it can improve your period health. But period pain is not normal
Mm,
at all. End of story. Like this whole thing that, oh yeah, it's normal, like it's part of being a woman. It's not okay. And it's a sign when you're in pain, it's your body telling you that there's something wrong,
mm.
that there's something there. And like I said, it's not necessarily something terrible, that it's a really bad disease or anything like that. It can be something really simple, but period pain is not normal, like full stop.
Because I was actually put on the pill by the age of 14 because I went to the gynecologist and I said, every month I struggle because I get sick from the pain, and pills help if I take them in time. If I'm too late, it
Mhm.
doesn't really matter. So yeah, I was 14 when they put me on the pill because of period pain, and obviously that helped, but it had other kind of bad symptoms that came with going on the pill. So
Yeah, there's so many, and do you know what? There's so many symptoms that they don't tell you about. And I know for me personally, I don't know if everybody experiences this, but I was never told that taking oral contraceptives can increase your risk of cervical cancer and breast cancer.
mm,
Like, this is what I've never, in from the age of 14 to the age of 31, I think it was, when I came off it. At no point was I ever told
no.
that I couldn't have that. Oh, the um, is it depot injection? That also weakens your bone density, and you should only be on it for, oh, I don't want to get this wrong. I think it's either 2 or 4 years that you can take it. I think it's 2 years. Um, and after that, you should be put on something completely different. I was on that injection for 6 years.
And no one
I
ever,
was never told. I was
no,
never told this.
no.
Like, and there's so many things, all of these pills and like the contraceptive drugs that they give you for endometriosis doesn't actually treat endometriosis, and there isn't any scientific research to say that it does treat it. It can only help minimize pain related to endometriosis.
Mm,
So it's like, well, then why are we being given it
yeah,
as an
no,
option, when it doesn't actually do anything to the disease?
no. So if someone's sat here expecting they have it, how does one go about to seek help? Like, what would be the first step? What do you do?
I think it's really important, like I said, is to start a journal,
Okay.
because going to the doctor and just saying that I'm in pain, it's really difficult. And unfortunately, I don't know if they're trained in this way, that it's normal, that pain's normal, and they just kind of send you on your way. So I think it's really important to have like a journal and a log. And again, this is where it comes into, if we've had this log since we start our periods,
Mm,
um, we'd be able to have evidence and say, well, actually, no, this is what I feel, this is what I do. Um, to have that information to be able to go in, I think that's helps you massively, because then they've actually got something else to go off of other than just I'm in pain.
mm,
Because that's like a very generic thing, however true that it is.
mm,
It's a very generic thing that you kind of, as well, if you're sat there thinking, okay, well, apparently this helps with pain, so go off and take that.
mm,
So yeah, I think it's really important to have a log, have a journal. If you're not doing that right now, I advise you to absolutely start doing that. um, I have a free like journal guide that I can send to
uh,
you or put into a thing that people can download, and then you just either copy it into a notepad or print it off each day or whatever. But it's got everything in there to include, so like to track kind of like where your pain is,
mm,
the intensity of your pain, how long it lasts for, your mood, how you're actually feeling in yourself, the things that you eat, drink, the people that you're around, the things that you do, like your whole environment, your whole lifestyle can impact your body and your endometriosis,
mm,
and your ability to be able to heal and like have a normal-ish life. So yeah, I definitely highly recommend to journal, so that when you go in, that you have got something to go for. Um, and when you go into the doctors, is don't let them dismiss you.
mm,
I think that's a massive thing, and I know it's something that's very uncomfortable for a lot of people, especially as you're sat in front of a doctor and we're led to believe through society that these are like authoritative people and they know best. They do not know your body.
no.
They are taught, and well, when I say they're taught, they learn. I think it's 4 weeks out of 5 years is spent on gynecological issues in their training
Yeah.
in within the UK. Like 4 weeks. That's crazy. How much of that time is dedicated to endometriosis, I'm not sure, but 4 weeks out of 5 years is spent on gynecological issues. Do you know, 8 hours on average is spent on nutrition in 5 years.
That's scary.
It's wild.
It is wild.
Like, so yeah, um, I've lost my
Logbook.
trail of thought there again as well.
I think that's a very, very good advice to keep a logbook, actually, and maybe,
Yeah,
get to know yourself if it's on certain days or certain type like times in your cycle, etc. That's a very, very good advice. And then maybe bring that to your doctor and be like, here, this is, what I'm
yeah.
experiencing. Yeah. And then just kind of stand your ground and don't let them dismiss you.
Yeah, that's it. It's like you know your own body.
Yeah.
Like then they should be doing tests. Like
Mm,
they should be doing blood tests. They should be
mm,
checking for things, like doing like a health check. Do you know what I mean? Not just like, oh, it's period, here you go, take this.
mm.
Like that just shouldn't be the issue. And actually they should be doing health checks before they put you on these kind of pills anyway.
Yeah.
Do you know? So it's like, yeah, I think definitely stand your ground.
Mm,
Um, and don't be scared to say no, I'm not happy with that. When I went to my consultant, she got very, not aggressive, but very kind of like, I'm the professional, and she's like, to try and put me on the Marina coil. I was like, absolutely not.
no,
It's not and the doctors don't like being told no.
no.
I've noticed that, and it's like, no, it's my body, and
Mm,
I've spent 3 years like detoxing it
mm.
from like hormones and stuff like that. I was like,
Yeah.
absolutely not. That's not my only option. She was like, well, it is. And if you're not willing to do that, I was like, okay, fine.
Then I can't help you.
See you
Oh,
later.
so
Yeah,
yeah, no, that doesn't help anyone,
it's
does it? So
no. Um,
How would they diagnose it then? Is it through blood tests normally, or is it?
No, so the how endometriosis was gold standard,
Hmm.
like diagnostics, was through laparoscopy surgery, um, which is still a thing, but there has been research that's done, and there was actually guidelines released from the, hang on, I have it written down because I'll get this wrong. Um, the ESHRE, um, which is the European Society of Human Reproduction and Embryology, they looked at the endometriosis guidelines, and the last meeting that they had, guidelines were updated for 2004.
Oof.
No, 2014, sorry.
Mm.
So they updated them in 2022. And their guidelines within that is that there should be, if you are suspected of having endometriosis, there should be like a two-phase um, process where that you go for MRI scans
Okay.
and ultrasound imaging, so like internal scans as well. That's not to say though that if they come back clear that you don't have endometriosis,
And you'll
because
have
if it's like superficial, it's very hard to pick up on those kind of imagery. Whereas like the laparoscopy is like they make incisions and they go in with a camera that's got like a light so they can actually see
that.
inside of you.
Mm.
So yeah, just because if you do like go through that, I think it's important to know that having surgery is not the only option, and that you should absolutely have access to have like MRI or the internal ultrasounds to see first.
Mm.
Um, if they come back negative, then looking down the laparoscopy route. Um, but there are ways that you can actually have a look without going through invasive surgery. And there's also a saliva test that's been done. I can't
Wow.
remember if it's Germany or France. And it actually, there's something that they can do like a test and it comes back, but it's very expensive. I think to get it in the UK is like £1,000, um, which is probably out of a lot of people's
Mm.
budget. I can't remember the name of it. I can send you
Oh
all of
yeah,
this so
please
people
do.
can have a look into it. But yeah, I was like, oh my God, that's crazy.
That's amazing.
But
That could be the future then.
yeah, absolutely. And that would like massively reduce
Yeah.
the diagnostic time, like
Yeah.
hugely.
Mm.
There is obviously things on that as well that it's not like it's quite accurate at like diagnosing it, but there's also it could be a chance that it could come back negative. So you might still need to
Mm.
go down the other routes. But if they could absolutely do that first off,
Yeah.
that's even less invasive than having MRIs or ultrasounds, which would be incredible. But like I said, how quick that would, or if it would ever come into the NHS, I couldn't tell you. But yeah, at the minute,
Mm.
um, it's sitting at, I think it's like 900 and something pounds
Yeah.
to take those tests.
It's a bit expensive, but I guess it would be in the NHS kind of, best interest because it would definitely help their time in terms of efficiency as well, and just, with their patient
Yeah.
care. Okay. So we did touch on this slightly, but are there any lifestyle changes or dietary adjustments that can help manage symptoms of endometriosis?
Yeah, definitely like diet massively helps. And I know this triggers so many people when you mention diet and they're like, I eat healthy and blah, 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 and they get really defensive.
Mm.
But the fact of the matter is food and nutrition is either helping heal a disease or it's feeding disease. And it's that simple. Um, Obviously, I'm not sitting here saying, oh, if you change your diet, it's going to cure you and you're going to be
Mm.
amazing. I'm not saying that at all. But it will definitely have an impact on your quality of life, the way that the things that you eat, the things that you drink.
Mm.
Do you know, that's not to say that what triggers me slightly is going to trigger you. Again, that's where journaling comes in, and you have a track of things and you're like, oh yeah, I ate that last time and I felt like this as well. And
Mm.
you can then see that actually that's probably needs to come away. Or you could have some things that would, like I said, trigger me, and you can have that, and that's fantastic. So yeah, your body, what you put in, will absolutely impact
Yeah.
your quality of life, your health, and not just endometriosis, like your body's health in general, your overall health. Um, how I like to explain it to like my clients and stuff is like, think of your body as like a race car, like a really like pristine, sexy, top of the range red sports car that you just absolutely love. You're not going to take it to the garage and stick diesel into your sports petrol car. So it's the same principle with your body. Like if you're continuously eating highly processed foods, that's the same as putting diesel in your petrol sports car.
Mm.
And then you can sort of eat healthy. So if you went to the petrol station and you put in normal unleaded, your car's going to run, but it's probably going to be a bit groggy. It's going to be
Mm.
a bit like, it might take it longer to start in the mornings, and it might be a bit jerky. Which again is the same with food. So if you kind of like clean up your diet a little bit, you're going to be all right, but you could make more improvements. Whereas if you go in and you put the premium unleaded, like that's designed for the car, that makes it run optimally, everything's perfect, then it's the same with the food. If you are really mindful about where your food comes from, organic foods, where you can possibly get them, or
Mm.
just if you can't, be mindful about where you're buying your foods. Take time to read the ingredients of the foods that you have. If you're buying fruits and vegetables, if you buy them in the supermarket, make sure you're washing them when you get them home. Like that's really important. So you can use water and baking soda. I use white vinegar and baking soda. Literally fill up, I've got a stainless steel bowl, fill it up, put it in there, let it sit for a couple of minutes, wash it round, and then I obviously rinse it off, and then store it in the fridge. So it's really, really important that you wash like your fruits and vegetables and stuff. Um, and just taking the time to read the ingredients is really important, because companies,
Mm.
this angers me so much, is their marketing is so clever,
It's
and
so
their
smart.
marketing is designed to make you buy,
Yeah.
and it's not designed with anything else in mind, only profit.
Mm.
So there's so many bars and stuff that are advertised as, oh, healthy bars for breakfast, alternative, blah 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 blah. It's one of your five a day. Yeah, it might have like three blueberries in it, but they
The
don't
rest is
mention the fact
sugar.
that,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like
Mm.
artificial sweeteners, sugars,
Mm.
and oh, it's just gumph. And there's stuff in there as well that would cause gut irritation, which is
Yeah.
another huge thing with endometriosis. So it's like they're so clever at the marketing.
Mm.
Um, and it's, yeah, so I'd highly recommend that you need to like read the actual ingredients on the back of the packet. Where it says ingredients,
Mm.
actually focus on what that says,
Yeah.
and not on the rest of the gumph and the bright colours and the clever marketing on the
Mm.
rest of the packaging. The rest of it doesn't matter. um, Getting rid of plastic is huge.
Yeah.
um, Plastic causes massive disruption within the body. It causes, um, what's the word I'm looking for? Like your endocrine system, it causes a imbalance within that. It can also mimic estrogen, which, you have that whole thing as well of, oh, here, take the pill, we'll stop you ovulating. So you've got no estrogen now. But actually, you do, because your cosmetics are full of them. You've got plastic all throughout your house. You're rubbing it on your face and your skin
Mm.
all day long. So you've still got that estrogen, but it's synthetic, it's toxic. Your body doesn't actually know
What to do
what to
with it?
do with it,
Yeah.
because it's mimicking estrogen, but it's not actually estrogen. So it's all like, "Ugh," which again, that can contribute towards pain symptoms. Um, So yeah, absolutely kind of like getting rid of plastic. Do you know, and it's something that takes time, and I think it's really important that when you start to do things, I'm not here to say chuck everything out right now, it's all got to go. Absolutely not. Like, don't waste stuff. Like, do you know, use things up but don't rebuy them.
Yeah,
And that's something that I've done for the last 2 years, and it's been a process, and there's still things now that I need to replace
yeah.
that, do you know, it can be quite an expensive thing to do.
Mm,
So yeah, absolutely don't feel like it's like, oh my God, I've got to like get rid of everything right now and I've got to. It's not. Use things up, and once they're gone, don't buy them again. To
yeah.
find alternatives. Again, if you're stuck and you want to know, I have a list of things that are like natural and stuff like that. That I can send across to people that you can choose, or find your own things. I'm not saying, oh, you have to buy these and thing, but yeah, definitely take notice of like the ingredients and stuff. So your
Mm,
foods, getting rid of plastic is a huge thing. Um, and I guess the other thing is like how you how you talk to yourself.
mm,
Um, I think it's really important to, I know for me personally, so I've always worked in really high paced jobs. I've been in like hospitality, retail, um, courier work, and it's really like fast paced, high paced, go, 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 go. It's
mm,
like stupidly long hours,
mm.
and that I've always done that. Last August, I broke my ankle,
Oh no,
which was emotional,
well,
but
that's a
it's
nightmare.
actually, yeah, as painful as it was, and I really wish I'd learnt this lesson like an easier way, but clearly I
You
wasn't
have to
learning it, so
slow down.
I had to be stopped,
Yeah.
literally. Um, it's made me really actually listen to my body even
Mm,
more so, and really tune in to me. And it's like when you're tired and when you're just feeling
fatigued. Yeah.
like you can't go on, don't.
Mm,
Actually honor your body and give it what it needs. Like listen to how you're actually feeling. And it's like it's really weird because like fatigue is part one of the symptoms of endometriosis, and it was something that I never understood until I broke my ankle,
yeah.
because I always was always on like high functioning. I was always knackered because I was always working like 16 plus hours a week, six, sometimes 7 days a week. Like I never
Mm,
stopped. So I just was like, oh, that's it. And like once a month I might stay in bed all day, reset myself, and then off I'd go again. But actually being off and experiencing it, I was like, oh my God. And that's the other thing. I'm like, this whole into my whole entire life, I have abused myself like so much without even realizing that I was doing it. So yeah, I think it's really important to honor your body and do it without judgment. If you need to rest, you need to rest.
mm,
Like it's telling you you need to stop, you need to slow down, take a break, chill out, and listen to that and actually honor yourself. It's your body. Don't worry about everybody else. It's got not like it's nothing to do with them. Um, yeah, I think that's really, really important, and to do it without judgment, without the, oh, for God's sake, oh, look, I have to sit down again. Oh my
mm,
God. It's like actually, okay, I need to take a rest. I'm
yeah.
going to rest. I'm going to let my body be able to do what it needs to do and just chill out, and don't do it, just do it without judgment, without like the guilt. I think that's huge, especially for women, and probably more so who have children.
Mm,
um it can be like I need to serve everybody else first, but actually you don't. You have to serve yourself, because if you don't, you can't be the best for anyone else or do anything the best for anybody else.
mm. I think that's such sound advice for anyone, really. It's just we're not machines, are we? And the
No.
lifestyle that people are living is kind of like that kind of machinery where we just go, 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 and we'll never take a pause. And we're like, how am I actually feeling? Um,
Yeah.
so would you say that food-wise, it triggers are very individual? Because you mentioned chocolate early on, and I just kind of make note of that because that's a bit of a nightmare if that's a trigger for you, and I'm so sorry to hear that.
Well, yeah, because chocolate is full of sugars, it's full of
Oh yeah.
emulsifiers. which all cause an inflammatory response within the
Mm,
body.
mm,
Um, so yeah, it's very much, and you've got like obviously the dairy side of it. Some people, dairy affects them, other people's not so much.
mm.
Dairy affects me. I can't have dairy, but then I stopped having dairy a few years back, like before I knew about endometriosis. And I never realised how much it aggravated my gut until I stopped. I can't even get my words out. Until I stopped taking it or
Mm.
stopped using it. Until I then went to try and have it again, and I was like, "Oh my
That. Mm,
God!" Like the bloating, the gas, the pain, and everything. I was like, so dairy for me is like, yeah, I can't
mm.
have. And I used to be able to eat like a full block of cheese to myself,
Oh, the cheese
and
is
I
always
can't
the
do.
hardest one to give up, though, isn't it?
Yeah, and I can't now. Even the taste of it, like it's like
Mm,
I
yeah.
do have uh halloumi cheese. Oh my God, that's my favorite. Or feta cheese as well.
Mm.
Um or mozzarella, but I have like the ball mozzarella
Oh, the
um
burrata kind of
thing.
thing.
And I think yeah, oh it's so good.
It's
So
so
I'm obsessed
good.
with that.
No,
That's I'm
so
happy with that. It doesn't cause me any pains or anything else. Yeah, and with diet, I think if you're looking for inspiration, the Mediterranean diet is the
Mm,
best kind of a diet. And not even just for like it's for endometriosis, it is an inflammatory, anti-inflammatory, sorry, diet or lifestyle to
mm,
follow. It includes every single food group, so you're not cutting anything out that your body actually needs, but it's having more of the good stuff rather than the stuff that causes like inflammation and stuff like that. So yeah, if you're looking for you want ideas and stuff like that, the
mm,
Mediterranean diet, absolutely 100%. And it's been backed by research to be the best lifestyle. I
mm.
think it's 7 or 8 years in a row to
Yeah.
follow because it has everything that you need,
Mm,
um, which is important for your body and your health.
yeah. So we've actually got one more question left, but I just wanted to jump in and say if anyone at all have any questions, please drop them in the chat and we can have a bit of Q&A at the end if anyone feels like we've missed something. So then moving on to how does endometriosis impact mental health then, and what kind of strategies can individuals use to cope with the emotional aspect of this condition?
So yeah, endometriosis, I think there's so many levels that it can affect mentally. And, if you start with the fact that when you're going to the doctors and you're being told that it's normal, or, there's so many women that have been told that it's in your head, you're
Mm,
making it up. You're a drama queen. Like, and it's that in itself, you kind of go away and you end up kind of like, am I making it up? Is it thing? And then all of a sudden you're like folded in half
yeah.
in pain and you can't even stand up straight. And it's like, that is not in your head. It's not normal and it's not okay. So it has like a huge impact with you. Like it causes a huge disconnect between you and your body.
Mm,
And it makes you kind of like distrust yourself and distrust your own feelings and your emotions and things like that. Um, so I think it's very important to know that it's their opinion of them saying that it's not, you're feeling what you're feeling and that is valid. And I think if you're seeing a doctor who is continuously telling you this, one, they need to be reported. And I
yeah.
think it's about time that people start reporting these doctors, not just in general, when they are
Mm,
neglecting. They take an oath to cause no harm when they do their um, qualification, their training, their medical degree. They take an oath to cause no harm. So by telling you that you're making it up and that it's all in your head, that's harm. That's
mm,
causing harm.
yeah.
So yeah, I think it's like if you do have a doctor that's doing that, they need to be reported and definitely go and find another doctor. Um, they're not all really bad, even though it seems to be a very common denominator within the endometriosis world is that they are. And I don't want to stick up for them, but they don't receive the training either. Do you know what I mean? So it's really difficult to be like, you're the bad person, but it's like when they don't have the training to understand it themselves,
Mm.
do you know, it's that kind of like catch 22 sort of thing. Um, so it can cause massive anxiety. Do you know, the fact that you don't want to go out, or you don't want to make plans, you don't want to see people, you don't want to do anything because you're like, am I going to have a flare up?
Yeah.
Am I going to be in pain? Do you know, if it's close to your period, sometimes, do you know, you could bleed right through and you're like, oh, am I going to like leak everywhere? Am I going to be sat
Mm.
somewhere? That's happened to me a couple of times. You're sat and
Oh
you're like,
yeah.
oh my God. And you're like, I can feel it. And I'm like, I don't want to stand
Mm.
up.
Nightmare.
You're just sat there and it's like, oh, can
Mm.
someone go behind me, please? I need a jumper.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so it can cause huge anxiety. And I think it needs to be addressed that, you know, these things could happen,
Mm.
but what if it doesn't?
Yeah.
Do you know, and like shift in your mindset as to not focusing on this bad thing is going to happen or this bad thing could happen,
Mm.
but shift in your mindset to what if it doesn't and I go out and have a fantastic night? Do you know, and I'm not saying if you change your mindset, it's going to heal endometriosis. I'm not saying that at all. But
Mm.
when you shift your mindset from away from focusing on the negative and the bad and look into the more positives, it will have an impact.
Yeah.
And if you're constantly zoning in on something, you're almost attracting it to yourself. And again, I'm not saying that if you think about it enough, you're causing your flare up. I'm not saying that. But, you know, if you focus energy elsewhere,
Mm.
um, and focus on the good, it can massively impact,
Mm.
positively impact your ability to be able to do things. Um, like mindset, your mind is so powerful.
Yeah.
And again, it's something that we're not taught. We spoke about this earlier. Like everything that I was taught growing up by society to be completely woo woo and like fairies and all the rest of it
Mm.
is actually bloody life changing.
Yeah.
And it's insane. Like some simple things and simple shifts in your mindset, the difference it has on your ability to be able to function as a human and especially as a woman with endometriosis.
Mm.
It's life changing,
Mm.
you know. And again, that's not me saying I still get flare ups. Touch wood, they are getting more and more, less and less, not more and more, sorry, less and less frequent. Um, and I've learned within my body that certain foods will trigger me. Alcohol is a huge thing,
Yeah.
but stress is another thing that if I allow things to like get to me too much or I get too stressed out, that massively triggers my endometriosis. And
Mm.
if I don't sort my head out and I don't sort my mindset out and I allow it to continue and I allow things to bother me, it
Mm.
triggers and I get that they are my worst flares,
Yeah.
100% from stress.
Mm.
Again, I'm not saying that's the same for everybody. It's you need to track your body and look at the differences. Go back when you have like three 3 to 6 months worth of data of collecting data. um, you can actually go back and see. Do you know, there's loads of apps that you can download now, which, yes, they are fantastic, but one bit of advice when it comes to the apps is do not allow an app to dictate to you what you shouldn't be feeling. It's a
Yeah.
piece of technology and it
Mm.
doesn't know you. Like, just it picks up patterns. It's designed to pick up patterns and predict things. That doesn't mean that you have to feel that way. And I think that's really, really important to note that yes, it's incredible to have all your data in an app that you can have right there. I don't have an app. I'm old school. I write things down. I'm like, I've got journals and diaries and stuff. Um, but yeah, I think it's really important to not allow an app to be like, oh, look, it's this day and it says that I should be feeling this. Allow that to then like influence your day.
Kind of like the placebo effect, isn't it? Because I had one of those hormones app and I woke up and it said, you might be fatigued today, you might feel this and that. And I was like, oh yeah, no, I've slept terribly. I am really tired. And
Yeah.
it's, you know, sometimes it can actually make it worse. Like have a like little
Yeah.
moment in the morning where you check in with yourself, write it down
Mhm.
maybe. And that's probably a
Yeah.
better way to come at
Yeah.
it.
I think they're very handy as in like, you know, that you can keep it all in one place and you can have it with you everywhere.
Mm,
Um, but yeah, I think it's you need to be very careful not to fall into that allowing a technical app to tell you how you're feeling and thing.
mm,
I think it's very important that you actually take the time to sit with yourself. Meditation is so
mm,
powerful. Um, so powerful to sit, and it's really difficult if you've never done it before. And I remember when I first started, like, what do they call it, the monkey chatter. You'd be
monkey. Oh
sat there
yeah.
and I'm like, breathe, breathe, and then I'm like, I wonder if you took like 12 of those and put that, what if you crossed a penguin with it, you know, all this stuff going through my
Yeah.
head, and it's like, Siobhan, focus.
Mm,
So yeah, I think meditation is amazing,
mm,
like to sit with your body, to actually feel how you're feeling. And again, it's that thing of, if you do wander off and you do go on like a tangent of like random facts and stuff,
mm,
or what if this happens, is if you, when you notice yourself doing that, just focus back in on your breath. Literally just in, out, count your breaths or
mm.
whatever, refocus your mind, and then just kind of come back into yourself. And it's without judgment. And I know so many people try it and they're like, oh, I can't do that, I can't do it. And it's like, yeah, but you've not even given yourself the chance to do it.
No,
Like,
I
it's
know.
not, you can't. And I think that's another societal thing, is like, everybody wants everything right now. I want it right here, right now. If it doesn't work right here, right now, doesn't work. That's it.
Mm.
Not doing it anymore.
No, I know.
Where,
It's like exercise, though, isn't it? You need to exercise your
yeah.
brain to keep it quiet. It's a learning curve. And I actually went to a guided meditation once, and this was very interesting because so I could feel my, you know, the monkey chatter was there, and they mid through they just said, now you're free to think about whatever you want, and all of a sudden my brain just went quiet because I was allowed to
Mm,
somehow. And maybe like using those tools, you can train it though, and it
yeah,
is
absolutely.
incredibly helpful.
Mm. It's, yeah, it's so powerful. Like, meditation is, yeah, I highly recommend that.
Mm,
Like, meditate, and it's, you don't even have to sit. And I think that's another like misconception with it, is like you've got to sit for an hour like, with your legs crossed and all the rest of it.
no,
You don't have to do that at all. You can literally sit in your chair like this, do you know,
mm,
and just close your eyes and breathe. You can
yeah,
put music on if you want to, you can do it in silence. um yeah, it's so powerful. It really helps you
mm,
to actually come back into yourself and to be with you and actually like listen and feel
yeah.
everything that's going on in your body.
Mm.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Take
Oh,
care.
Thank you so much, Siobhan.
bye
Thank
guys,
you.
thank you.
Thank you, everyone.